So let's see. One of the first questions we got, just the basics of a total solar eclipse, is where's the sun going? That was the exact question. Of course, the sun will still be there, but if you want to explain, Jay, a little bit more about what's exactly happening with the science there.
Well, just right here, it's basic. But if you look at this layout between, so everything in space casts a shadow. If Katie and I go into space and we move into the right places, Katie or I can eclipse the other, no problem. It's just simple mechanics of shadows, moon, Earth. But look at this map, though, or this graphic. The problem is the graphic is shrunk down and it's too tight. Look at the shadow that's being cast on the Earth. That is way
Too
too
big.
big. Shadow is only it's supposed to be about roughly 100 miles across. On here, you've got 500 to 1,000 miles across. That's not right. So the moon is actually very small. The Earth is very big. It's about a quarter the size of the Earth. So as you can see, it's too large in this example. But the other thing is that we should be asking is, okay, so we have shadows. We have a solar eclipse set up here, and then a lunar eclipse. The moon would be on the other side of the Earth, and the Earth's shadow would be blocking the sunlight on the moon. Okay, so we have two solar eclipses every year and two lunar eclipses every year. Now that can change, but that's the average. So we have eclipse seasons. Right now, we're in the eclipse season for the spring. I think it's Monday. We have a lunar eclipse, which I I don't recommend that you try to go out and see it because, first of all, it's called a partial eclipse, and there's really nothing to see. So
Is it like
that's
a slight tint?
not just barely. If it's clear out, some photographers can actually take quality pictures and show the difference. It's called a penumbral eclipse. If you'll look at the shadows here, there's two dark shadows. There's one in the middle that follows the horizontal line between the moon and the Earth. It's much darker. But then the gray shadow to the up, to the top, and to the bottom of the shadows here, what we have is the penumbral. That's where the uh, uh, the Earth has the exact same thing. So the moon is going to pass into the lesser shadow on Monday, and you can barely tell that there's an eclipse going on. It's not even worth mentioning. That's why I
Okay,
don't send out press releases for penumbral eclipses like this. Now,
sure.
in this case, the other aspect is you would think if the moon goes around the Earth once a month, shouldn't we have eclipses every month? Yeah, you would think so, but no, it's not. The moon is a lot farther than this graphic would suggest. It's 30. Take the Earth, multiply that by 30, and that's how far away the moon really is. And the moon is a lot smaller. So what you have is sometimes the moon and oh, here we go. All right, Earth, moon. So we think of the moon going around like this, around and around and around on a horizontal line, say, compared to the equator. So it's doing that just fine. Actually, the moon does this. It comes down, comes up, comes down, comes up. It's off the plane by a simple 5 degrees, but it's enough that we don't have eclipses every month. We have them about twice a year. That's it. Somewhere on the Earth. And the shadow is very small usually much smaller, as small as like 40 miles across.
Oh,
This one is over 100 miles, and then towards the end of the eclipse, it'll be about 120 miles across. It's really big because not only is the moon going around us, it's also closer to us and then farther away, closer, far. Well, on that day, the moon is going to be a lot closer to us, and that's why it's going to last almost 4 minutes. If the moon were further away, there may not even be an eclipse because the moon's just too far away and too small. And then we have what's called an annular eclipse. A-N, single N, U-L-A-R. Forgive the spelling, but you get the idea. So we have a lot of variables going on here, and they all have to line up just right in
yeah.
order for us to have it. eclipses are everywhere, but here at Earth we have the best eclipses, but they only happen twice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's super helpful to explain even for myself, who's I'm pretty well educated on it at this point, but thinking about just the size, the sheer size of Earth, how far away the sun is, how far away the moon is. And I mean, somebody that just pays attention as myself for my job of where the moon's at. I mean, it's a lot less predictable for the average person to
Oh
figure out where the moon's going to be at in
yeah.
a given day and when it's rising, setting.
Something else that you have experience with, and actually most people, most of the Channel 5 viewers also, is the supermoon. That's a new term in our vocabulary here,
Mhm.
more recent. Supermoon is simply the moon happens to be a little bit closer to us, and so it seems a little bit bigger on the horizon there. And it actually is because, and you can measure that very easily because with using your cell phone, take a picture of the moon, full magnification, and then save it. And then come back a month later when it's not a super full moon. Take the same picture, okay, using the same settings, and then what you'll have is you'll notice the moon during the super full moon is 13% larger, and you can measure that even on your cell phone.
Yeah, I love a good supermoon. We do talk about it a lot on air. It's a fun thing for us to discuss, but also I just enjoy it when I look outside, knowing that that's why it looks better and bigger than
Yeah.
previously.